So, so states have a unique role in preserving the constitutional order. And it's important that individuals understand that all 18 attorneys general who have filed this action seek to stop a private individual from accessing the private information of millions of Americans, their Social Security numbers, their tax information, their addresses. No one elected Elon Musk and his minions, and no one has allowed him to have access to this information. This is a violation of the separation of powers. The United States Congress, the United States Senate, has the sole discretion in having the power of the purse, and not Elon Musk. He has basically violated the Administrative Procedure Act, and he has violated the privacy of millions of Americans. And it is up to us to prevent him from having access to that private information. And so we've come together because we believe in the Constitution and the rule of law. And we believe that no one is above the law. And we believe that there are individuals, obviously, who should be prevented from having access to this law. The Treasury Department is responsible for maintaining the privacy of our information. The Treasury Department is responsible, again, for protecting our rights and our privileges. No one elected Elon. He's not been subject to any vetting. He's not been subject to any conflicts of interest. He has earned $20 billion over the last decade. He's the richest person in the world. And he has caused harm and injury to Americans. And that's why we are here today, to seek a preliminary injunction, to stand up against those forces who believe that they can unilaterally have power and have control, all in the hands of the President of these United States. It's important that Elon Musk, the Treasury Department, the President of these United States understand that is not how our order of the Constitution works. And so I'm joined here today by my colleague, William Tong, from the great state of Connecticut. And I would ask him to say a few words as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's hear for Tish James. Let's hear for Tish James. Thank you, Tish.
Thank you.
Let me thank Attorney General James, our colleagues, for standing together today here in federal court, here in the Southern District of New York, in defense of our country, in defense of the rule of law. We stand together to stop Elon Musk and his army of tech bro wannabe stormtroopers from tearing up the Treasury Department, now IRS, we hear, the Department of Education, and the federal government. Let me just put this, let me frame this for you and put this in context. You know, you're going to hear a lot of legal arguments today. We're going to talk about the Constitution. We're going to talk about the Administrative Procedures Act. Let's put that all to the side for a second. What is this about? This is the largest data breach in American history. That's what this is. Okay, our job as state attorneys general is to protect and safeguard our states, the citizens in our states, from data breaches, to protect their confidential personal information, to protect our states and residents from cyber attacks and cyber crime. And what you have here, never mind Equifax and a data breach that impacted half of all Americans, never mind Change Healthcare, which we're still working through, which has impacted our healthcare system in this country. This is the largest data breach in American history. We're talking about Social Security numbers. We're talking about banking information. We're talking about addresses, biometric information, states and payment information, routing numbers, bank accounts. All of this puts all of us at risk, right? Puts our states at risk, puts the financial well-being of our states and our country at risk, and every person that lives in our states and our communities. And we're also talking about when they have access, not just read access, but read-write access to the central payment system of the United States of America, the Bureau of Fiscal Services, BFS, right? We are concerned about payments to everyday Americans, Social Security payments, Medicaid, veterans payments to support our veterans, our first responders, police officers. This is what's at stake today. Not just the rule of law, but people, families who depend on the Treasury Department and on all of these payment streams and funding to support America, and to support our states, and to support the American people. Let me also say, we heard from the Vice President, who cast doubt on the role of judges. He said essentially that judges don't have the right, the power, and the authority to stop unlawful, illegal, unconstitutional actions by the executive branch and by the president. That is utterly false and untrue. Okay, judges have always had the power of judicial review for more than 200 years in this country. The Supreme Court said in Marbury versus Madison, when Tish and I went to law school, that's the first day. And J.D. Vance knows better. His first day in law school, he learned that judicial review is a bedrock, right? It's what keeps us free.
That's right.
Because if judges can't declare what the law is, if they can't say that a president or a vice president or an unelected person or Congress, if they can't say what the law is and they can't stop them from taking an unconstitutional and illegal action, then what do we have?
That's right.
Right? We have unchecked power. Congress, if the president can do whatever he wants, then Congress becomes optional. It becomes marginal. Our rights become optional. States become optional. And all we're left is with a president who can do whatever the heck he wants. That's not America, right? That's not who we are as a country. That's what we're stopping here today. And let me just close by saying, again, what I just talked about, judicial review, Marbury versus Madison, you know, what we're going to talk about here in this courthouse today, those may seem like big concepts, and in many ways they're big 10,000-foot constitutional legal concepts. But what we're talking about today, every middle schooler in America understands checks and balances. This is about checks and balances. This is a check. This is a check on executive power run amok. This is a check and a balance on a president who wants to do whatever the hell he wants. We cannot have that in America, and that's why we're here today.
And as attorneys general, we're not going to bow to the president or to Elon Musk. It's important that individuals understand that right now Elon Musk is untethered to any accountability at all. And the fact is that they would like for us to engage in an ideological litmus test. And that's why they've paused funds. That's why they have freezed Social Security and veterans payments, and payments to the state of New York and to states all across this nation. It is unacceptable, unconstitutional, ultra-vires. They have exceeded their authority. And so it's important that attorneys general representing our respective states stand up and enforce the rule of law, because Elon Musk, individuals at the Treasury, and the President of these United States is not above the law. And we will continue. You know, as attorneys general, we've been preparing for this. This is not the outcome that we wanted. We wanted to cooperate. But when you challenge the 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship, we acted. And we got a TRO. When you challenge the NIH, individuals who are engaging in research to find a cure to cancer, to find a cure to a cardiac disease, we got a TRO. Funding, when you pause the funding of countless number of agencies, Meals on Wheels, veteran services, law enforcement grants, we got a TRO. And we're not finished yet. So we're going to march into court each and every time to uphold the law, to uphold the Constitution, and let the president and Elon Musk and his minions know that you cannot restructure our government. This is not a unilateral form of government. Congress is a co-equal branch of government, and the separation of powers requires that you get consent of the United States Congress. And we are confident today that we will get a preliminary injunction. Any questions? Hey, good afternoon. Mm-hmm. So as you know, there was another action that was filed in New Mexico by 12 other attorneys general. But our action here is against specifically the Department of Treasury. And we are seeking at some point to amend our complaint to specify other agencies. We believe that the best course of action is to focus on agencies and not name Elon Musk. We question whether or not we have personal jurisdiction over Elon Musk. At the end of the day, this is a lot of legalese. At the end of the day, we believe that this is the proper and the most correct way to respond to an entity which is not a government agency, which has not been confirmed by Senate, where employees have not been vetted and have not been subject to any checks and balances and or conflicts of interest. Again, Elon Musk earned $20 billion over a 10-year period of time and is still enjoying contracts from the federal government. That should not be the case, and it must be stopped, and that's why we are here today. Sure. So in the event that not only this case, but any other case where there is a violation of the order, we are considering our legal options, including, but not limited to, filing a motion for contempt.
Yeah, and that happened in the funding case in which we're both involved in the district court in Rhode Island. We have concerns that they're not complying with that court order, so we moved to enforce that court order, and the judge granted that motion on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yep.
And so there are real questions about compliance and non-compliance, and we're gonna go in any court anywhere to make them comply with these orders.
Yeah. Yeah.
Secretary Treasury said that it is the Trump administration's that they want DOGE and civil servants to work together. What do you have to say to those that say that you are impeding a serious and honest effort to try to get the government to work better and to rein back waste and out of control spending before it's even had a chance to really take off?
Listen, all of us are concerned about waste, fraud in our federal government and in all governments, but you should work with Congress. That's how the system works, not by, again, special employees who have not been vetted, who have not been proved by the United States Senate. It's really critically important that individuals understand that right now he is ignoring the United States Senate and House of Representatives. And that's just not our system of government. The president and DOGE cannot act unilaterally, and they cannot do with a stroke of a pen ignore the law. Not now, not ever. And that's why we are here in court today.
Nobody is saying that they can't try to make government more efficient. We try to do that every single day in our offices, but do it in compliance with the law. Follow the law. But let's just be clear, they've gone way beyond that, okay? This isn't about making government more efficient. It's not about improving process. Writ large, including this, the DOGE action, plus a federal funding freeze, plus cutting off funding to NIH, right? They're defunding medical research. They're defunding healthcare. They're defunding education. They are defunding the police. That's what they're doing. Okay, so this is well beyond government efficiency.
I've got two separate. You go first, and then I'll go to you. Go ahead. So all Americans should be concerned, and particularly the constituents of the great state of New York should be concerned about a private individual, the richest man in the world, having access to their personal information, their Social Security numbers, their addresses, their income tax. And the question is, what is the purpose of all of this? And the question is whether or not they have followed the law. It's important that individuals understand that we cannot allow private citizens to have access to this private information. And pausing funds for the purposes of individuals bowing to the knee of the President of the United States, basically being subjected to ideological litmus tests. Individuals who do not follow his prescriptions, his policy prescriptions. This is a democracy, a representative democracy. And it's important that individuals understand that there are co-equal branches of law that need to be respected, and that states, again, have a unique responsibility to ensure that the Constitution is followed, the constitutional order of things here in this great country. And so that's why we are standing up. We're defending the Constitution. We took an oath to the Constitution, not to a man, but to the Constitution. And let me just say to the brave soldiers, the amazing individuals at the Southern District of New York, Danielle Sassone, she's a profile in courage.
What do you think about Mayor Adams having said that?
So at this point, there's a number of discussions going on. There's discussions going on the state level. There's a number of discussions going on the local level, and private discussions. So at this point in time, I'm going to refrain from any comment until such time as we complete those discussions and determine the fate of the mayor of the city of New York. Thank you all.